except pollute the minds of our people.
Right.
And now look at what it has become, this mumble rap crap that they talk. Our progenitors, the people who brought black music to a place of sophistication, are rolling over in their graves. They done rolled out the cemetery. It's sickening, really sickening. And now we've got the women. They've prostituted the women. They've turned them into hoes on stage. They're sluts. And why do you think they keep pushing them out there? They're degrading women. Women says, you men, you just degrade us women. You degrade your damn selves. You degrade your damn selves. You know that. But anyway, I'm just an old man sitting on a rocking chair on the porch and calling all your bullshit out to you. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You know it. I got a whole lot of t-shirts, and this is just me telling you what my life is about and has been about for the last 72 years. I ain't all that. I'm not perfect. I'm seeking perfection. But I can tell you what you're doing wrong. And this shit that you all are calling music, God. Go back and start playing some real music. Calm yourselves. Maybe that's the reason why you can't get to your subconscious, because you're listening to all that shit.
Doc, man, wow. We needed this tonight. We needed this tonight. You got everybody hype about this webinar. If this was a preview, this was just a sneak peek into what you're gonna be kicking on January 14th. Are we ready? The link is pinned at the top of the chat. I want to thank you, Doc, for coming on here once again. Before we get out of here, any last message you want to leave? Because Doc will be back before January 14th. He'll be back one more time. Yeah. But for tonight, any message you want to leave the people with tonight for the rest of the year, December,
okay.
The rest?
Yes, by the end of the year, I would say to you, save your money, because all the money you spend on Christmas right now, all the money you spend on Kwanzaa, which was actually put together by a government snitch. You don't want to deal with Kwanzaa because your elders told you what Kwanzaa is really about. You want to deal with anything, just get with your people and celebrate the fact that the sun is getting ready to be born again. I'm not talking about the sun god. I'm talking about the sun that's up in the sky. Right now it's heading south, and it's going to stop there on the 21st and stay there down in the southern part of the flat earth, and then it's going to start its journey back up again. So what I'm saying to you is save your damn money. Don't get hooked into it. Keep your money and spend it on food. Spend it on food that you're going to need later on. Spend it on a weapon. Spend it on things that you know you're going to need later on, because it ain't going to get any better. Before it get better, it's going to get a whole lot worse. And that's real. I can't get any realer than that for you all. It's going to get worse. You see? And take your money out of the bank. If you got a substantial amount of liquid cash, get into XRP, take it off the grid and put it into the new money system, because it's the haves and the have-nots at this particular time. It's what you call, it's called compelled benefit. They're compelling you to act that way. You don't mint your own money. You don't make your own money. So you're under a slave system dealing with the dollar. So you got to know what to do with that chain that you got and where to actually hook it to so that you can get past this. This is a test. And anyway, like I said to anybody, if you got any problems that you have where the people are asking you to got an 800 number, 800-847-1291, 800-847-1291. We are still doing those exemptions. And if you're having a problem getting into the links, make sure that you go up on our website at uksnow.org, and you just click where it says register. What is it for the? To click
the contact.
Contact. Mama said, click contact and put your information in there, and then you'll get the constant contact that has all of our information and all of we have our homeschooling in ISM for you. You're going to have to take these children out these schools because they're going to definitely destroy them. Also, we're going to have a chance to deal with the books, my wife's new book, the whole 9 yards from there. And if you're having a problem, for a while to match her, so
Yeah.
I'm just growing my hair back. That's all.
Okay. How's the queen doing, Doc? How's everything going?
Doing a lot better. Thanks for asking. She's she's in her rehabilitation right now, and we've been dealing with the trials, and she's come through with it. And her new book is going to be fire. How she went through the crucible. When the time comes, we'll let you know all about it. We're going to probably do a show with her, and
Excellent.
she'll tell you all about her experiences. And she's like she's my hero now, for what she had gone through.
Praise, yeah.
And she's a trooper. Definitely.
Them queens, they some powerful entities, huh?
Oh yeah.
Powerful
The
entity.
thing is, when they're in their queendom, not when they're trying to get into our kingdom.
Oh yeah. Ooh, there you go.
We give honor and praise, bow, take a knee when they are in their queendom, and definitely. But she stood there, she rose to empress level, and came to that space where we had to cross over that divide, and she made it.
Excellent, my brother. Excellent. Well, Doc, we got the workshop Blueprint for God Power 2.
Yeah, man.
Up Sunday.
Powerful, brother.
And I know you just want Doc's not gonna be here too long. I'm gonna have guests come in and pop on for a little while. But Doc, man, I know you're excited about it, Doc.
Yeah, definitely. This is straight out of our university. Y'all getting into the higher levels, which is I am so proud of you guys. I'm looking at what you had shown me, what it is it's done, man. Some of the things here, Nuon, linguistic reticular activating system. This is going to be powerful. The reticular activating system is dealing with extrathalamic control modulatory systems. And this is powerful because it's connected to the sleep-wake transition. And this is where, when they start dealing with, MK Ultra, this is where they actually trip up that particular mechanism in order for you not to see whether it's not in there. It gets rid of your circadian rhythm. So whatever it is they program into you at that particular time, you only know their reality. It takes away your natural reality, and that's when they can infuse a synthetic reality and control you. And then now you're speaking with my brother, Billy Carson, talking about the epigenetic code. All of these are connected directly to how they're mind controlling you through subtle systems that are broadcasting from all over the place at this point. And so when you're dealing with the epigenetic code, you're dealing with the stable genetic traits that are connected to the environment, how your environments are connected to your behavioral systems. And behavioral systems are not just what it is your mother gives you or what it is that your teacher gives you in school and so forth, or the society and who you run with in your crew and so forth, how you adapt. But the behavioral system is broadcasted from within you based upon how you inherited certain genetic traits. How they're molded based upon your environment is what makes your personality. It's what creates who you are. So you're touching upon the codings of consciousness, which is something that's very important, especially now we're getting ready to go into what's getting ready to throw down in the next 6 to 10 years, which is to take away all, in other words, scrub consciousness and then actually redefine what consciousness will be. And that's what the AI is doing right now. The AI is redefining what consciousness means and who God and what God will mean in the future. So this is what we do in our school as well, where we teach you how to actually recognize how your thoughts and the epigenetics of your coding from your family to how you're structured in the society, all of that. And you have to become more vigilant. College ain't teaching you a damn thing anymore.
No.
This is where you all are now the new college. You are the new university. I'm universities.
Oh, thank you, brother.
You know what I'm saying? And this is where we have to be. We have to take it off this particular. We have to go off grid if you want to really know what the truth is.
Right.
But I commend you. I'm looking at what it is you have here. This is going to be pop. People, listen. If you all want to get into the deeper mechanisms of consciousness and what it is that they have as the weaponry to attack your personal consciousness, to infuse a collective consciousness that they will orchestrate. Get down with this particular program. I recommend it based upon what it is that I'm looking at here today. Basic personal kinesiology, how to deal with muscle memory and the whole 9 yards. I guess that's what it means. And also creating mind alters. This is what MK Ultra is based on. When you talk about trauma-based mind control, trauma-based mind control usually creates those alters. And when you get traumatic, the body doesn't want and the mind doesn't want to deal with that type of trauma. And when the mind doesn't want to deal with that trauma, it escapes into a place where we can deal with that trauma. So MK Ultra, and y'all are dropping some serious stuff here. Hemisync, getting both sides of the brain, left and right hemispheres, to actually connect and sync up. And the quantum jump. Yeah, you're going. Listen, tune in. I mean, I wish I had more time to get into this because it looks this is right down my alley. But I'm brothers. You know, it's time. I mean, after doing this for the last 35, 40 years and seeing it, become a curriculum.
Oh yeah.
Y'all get busy and get with this brother. This is going to be a monster.
Yeah, I knew this would be something you would appreciate. You've been tapped into so many sciences throughout the last 3 decades. You've taught us about so much. So to see other teachers teaching from different angles and different perspectives, I know, and reach the masses, I know that makes you happy, Doc.
Oh man, I feel like a proud father.
You
know, I'm sitting back on my rocking chair and saying, "Well, those goddamn kids finally got it." I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for making it. You know what this does to me, beloved? It makes me know that the work that we've been putting in, especially Bobby and Dr. Claire and all of us, when we try to lay the foundations of the type of way to think, get out of the structured way of thinking that they gave us, and now put, go into a place where, that they didn't want you to tread. You guys picked up on that because we could be a bunch of the three amigos, me, Robbie, Delbert, and a number of others who just came along after us. We could have been a bunch of blowhards, and they're saying, "Oh, these guys is a cult and crazy." You all actually believed what we were saying at that time, or at least challenged us by going in to see whether we were right or wrong. And you all went and you took that torch further, man. Listen, I could sit back now and say, if I wanted to close my eyes tomorrow, I got some other stuff I'm getting ready to build on. Oh, y'all get ready. But now to see that this is what y'all are going to just set up to bring people in, and y'all going to definitely lose out if you all don't come to this particular program. Y'all going to have problems. You're going to have problems catching up if you don't do this, because this is the segue into the next century. Definitely. So get to work. Whatever it is you need to do in order for you to be able to set aside whatever you got to do at that particular time to be able to do what you need to do here. Plan for it. Get with it. Because like I said, I am extremely impressed. It takes a lot to impress me. And I'm extremely impressed with the subject matter that's going to be talked about here. Because this is the stuff that I've been talking about for the last 35 years. And I'm loving the fact that this is going to be a matter-of-fact discussion that everybody's going to be in. And you know what? You all are going to understand everything that's being said here. You all are going to come in. You all are going to pipe into this. It's going to be like, hey, you know what? That genetic memory is
that genetic memory, Doc.
Back. All they had to do was say the right thing, and all of a sudden, the light switched on.
Indeed. Hey, Doc, the reason why these workshops you do, the workshops I do, and things we do off of YouTube is so important is because, like you said, they're trying to rewrite our consciousness.
Right.
YouTube just took Red Pill and Blue Pill channel. They didn't suspend it. They took the whole channel down.
What?
Yeah, they took the whole channel. It's not suspended. The whole channel's gone. Yeah, they terminated the channel. Yeah. So they're they doing, and you know what's going on over there. I'm not going to say the name, but you know the thing that's going on right now across seas.
Yeah. Yeah.
That right there, they're like, you know, they acting real funny about people talking about that. So when we do these workshops and we
Oh,
tap into
baby.
certain things, you know, it's
Look,
important.
let
So
me tell you. Listen, that's exactly what my next webinar is going to be about. I am going to drop a serious mega tonnage of what this whole thing is going to be about, what's happening over there, just not north, not south, not west, but you know, the next of us, that part of us. In other words, whatever it is that is happening in the world today is not what you see. It's going to come to everything's coming to the surface right now. Everything's coming to the surface. And it's time that everybody comes to knowledge of what's really going on. And yeah, give me a couple of months, give me a month and a half, maybe so, because I'm putting everything together and it's going to be a monster. Definitely.
having some technical difficulties with the little one part of me, y'all.
All right, man. Listen. I know what it's like, bro. I told you.
Oh man, you know. But Doc, listen, Doc, I definitely appreciate you for coming on.
Hey,
I know you got things to do. I want you to go ahead and do your thing, Doc. And we're gonna see you soon. I'm gonna have you on probably next week because I know you got stuff you want to announce, and me and you got stuff we're doing on Patreon. So yeah, take care, Doc. I appreciate you for coming on the show, Doc. And I will talk to you soon, my brother.
You take care, everybody. Bye, family. Take care.
That it's better for us not to do, and that is not to skip your yearly appointments. I started to say monthly, but really once a year, get your blood checked out. I don't care who you are. Now, what happened with me is that I went 3 years without having had an appointment with the doctor, mainly because I'm a doctor myself. My husband's a doctor. I know my body, quote unquote. We think we know what's going on. However, what I found is that, well, see, there is a huge difference between blood cancers and tumoral cancers. And you probably know the story. In 1996, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and told that my only option was surgery by the medical doctors, which I did not have. And that's when I was introduced to Dr. Valentine. And he taught me to heal myself. He put me on the Life Path program. And this was without drugs, without herbs, and without a lot of vitamins, using two most important things: proper thinking and proper nutrition. Now, that's one thing. That's breast cancer. What I had is, and I say had in the past, even though it hasn't been 5 years, and you know, they say it really takes 5 years for you to know that you're completely healed. It's been since 2022. Right? However, what I had was acute myeloid leukemia, which is a blood cancer. And there's a huge difference. So I know that's a long part of the story. I could go on and share. However, to answer your question, the main reason was to share my experience so that the family, brothers and sisters, and the world will know what they can do to be prepared for the unexpected.
Well, how did you come down with this since your diet was up to par? How did you come down with this?
Thank you for the question, because that is the question of the ages for people who know me and who know my lifestyle. One person actually said, well, if she gets cancer, we can all forget it, because they know where I stand with that and what my life has been since 1996. Okay. And I always teach that your genes are not your destiny. You can switch your genes off and on with lifestyle, right? And we know that. So what's the deal? Then how did I end up there? Well, your genes are enclosed in your chromosomes. And I had two chromosomal anomalies that were prone to cancer. And you can't switch off your chromosomes. And we know that. And not to be controversial, but you know, Males have male chromosomes and females have female chromosomes. And no matter what you do, you cannot change those chromosomes. Now, the other question is, why did this happen then? And that's the main part of this. Because, okay, I was prepared in one way, and I'll explain that later as we get to more questions, you know. However, the thing is that when you have an issue going on subconsciously, spiritually, metaphysically, biopsychically, you better find out what that is. Because if you've got anything negative, if you've got anger, hate, an unforgiving spirit, if you've got guilt, any one of those things can be harbored in your subconsciousness. And the reason I point subconsciousness is because I didn't even know I still had this going on, but my spirit knew. And there was a reason that it took hold. So that's how this happened. That's really the bottom line, the metaphysical behind it. The part that, the fact that your thoughts are really, your emotions and your thoughts are very much together, right? And your emotions are far more powerful than your thoughts. And as the husband says, are you thinking your thoughts or are your thoughts thinking you? And that is what was going on, and allowed that cancer to go into my blood and to proliferate to the point that I almost saw my ancestors.
Yeah, that was a real deep part of it. Just, I may come in here. A lot of people were saying, well, if you helped her the last time, why didn't you help her this time? She lives a more healthy and fastidious life than I do. And this was something that was on a clock. It was delayed because of her lifestyle. And her brother and her mother both passed from a similar disease. And because of their lifestyle, they could not tolerate what she went through. Because what happened was, when she essentially passed on, she stopped breathing. There was no feeling. I didn't feel any life in her for the moment. And then, I did what I had to do and brought her back around. Now, like Dr. Africa said, if you get shot, you don't start making carrot juice. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to deal with a triage situation. We didn't know what was going on. She just began progressively feeling weaker and weaker. And this woman is the most fastidious with her nutrition, with her juice plus, and the way she eats, her exercise. She was doing, what is that?
Pure bar.
Pure bar. And people who know what that is, it's a strenuous thing that these women do. And so I was saying, well, wow, what's going on with that? And I wanted to deal with a natural healing where she wanted to deal with that, but she was too far gone in that direction. And it said that there was a clock that she had inside of her, that if she did not do what she was doing all the 15, 25 years that I've known her, the doctor said that when they took her blood test and checked her organs, that she had, we're in our 70s, the doctor said she had the organs of a 20-year-old.
Of a 20-year-old?
Yes.
20-year-old.
Wow.
And so the doctor gave her the option. Do you want to take this medicine for the rest of your life, or do you want to go through the treatment that we give to 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds with your condition? She said, well, I'll go with the 20-year-old condition. And so she suffered through all of what you saw her for like 2 to 3 weeks, for a year. She went through it. And the doctor said that she was a phenomenon because people don't survive what she survived. And when we essentially got the people in the hospital to take on her natural healing processes, and she became like the queen of the walk. Everybody came into her room because she thought it was like, she set it up like an ashram, and everybody used to come in there and say, let me chill here for a minute. Please let me sit here and listen to the music and hear and smell the incense and the whole 9 yards. They gave her carte blanche. And in her book, and what we're going to show you in the webinar, are all the people who essentially supported her through that. The nurses and the doctors, and they were converted. Everybody wanted to get on the Juice Plus. They wanted to do all of that because they saw that this woman in her mid-70s went through what would have killed a natural person, a regular person. So this is the reason why I thought that it would be a great thing, and I knew she was going to do that, to write this book. And I wanted to write the book. I wanted to name it My Lifestyle Saved My Life. And that's exactly what it is that essentially happened. Her lifestyle actually saved her life. And so everybody says, well, what kind of natural healer you are? Look, fool, I'm going to tell you this. When the time comes, I'm not, if I get shot or if I get, stabbed, or if I get something that came up on me, even with my lifestyle, and I have to deal with triage and I have to become stabilized, I'm going to get stabilized and then get back on the mark. I ain't gonna worry about me juicing or getting herbs and all of that. That's after the fact. So when she did what she did, when she went through what she went through, and survived it, and went through the harshest thing, and the doctor said, matter of fact, when she went in to get after the ambulance came and got her after I revived her, the ambulance came. They took her blood. They didn't know what was wrong with her. They had to send away to the National Institute of Health to get their prognosis on what the heck was going on, because what she had was so rare at the time. So whatever it was that attacked her at the cellular level, at the chromosomal level, that was something we did not know about. It was like a clock that went off, like a timer that went off, that would have been her age, and she would have been left the planet when that went off. That was her time up. And when a clock wakes you up with an alarm, the alarm would have put her to sleep forever.
Now, I'd like to clarify a couple of things. And I'm so glad that he shared this because this is the foundation of what was going on. Okay, so when I got to the hospital, they took my blood, obviously. Well, actually, they didn't take my blood. They were giving me blood because they said that my blood count was so low. They couldn't understand why I was alive. Okay. However, they said when a person comes into the hospital with this kind of condition, usually 35% of their blood is leukemic. And I want to make a strong differentiation between tumoral cancers and blood cancers. Very different. Like I said, when I had the breast cancer, he helped me heal it. I've heard people say, well, I had stage 4 and I used these herbs. That's marvelous. That's wonderful. I have yet to hear of somebody who had blood cancers to this degree that I had it and survive at all with any kind of treatment. So they said usually a person has 35% of their blood being leukemic. When I arrived, 87% of my blood was cancerous.
Damn.
Almost 90% of my blood. That's why they didn't expect me. That's one reason they didn't expect me to survive. The second reason is that because of my age. And so I get to explain too, just a little more clarity or detail to what my husband was saying about why I made that choice. They said you might take this for the rest of your life, which, by the way, might be 2 years. Or you could take this really strong treatment that we don't like to give anybody, younger than 50 years old. And of course, to me, there was no option.
Yeah, older than 50 years old, you mean?
Yeah, right, older than, older than 50. So to me, there was no option. There was no other option. And originally, because of the way our minds think, originally when we first thought about it, we were saying, well, I can go to the acupuncturist, you know, we know what we can do naturally. And I was going to an acupuncturist for a while, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And time was of the essence. And so thankfully, I just went ahead on and went to the doctor, and that's what happened. Now, the book goes into almost like just like a diary, what I was thinking at the time and what he was thinking at the time, right before I passed in a certain way and then was revived. So all of that is in the book. The book is very simply written.
And the foreword is written by Shaka Khan. Get that ready. Shaka Khan and her sister wrote the foreword because they had she heard, well, we know the family, and when they read her story and they heard of her story, they said they wanted to be participant because they, of course, went through their own medical issues and they came out of it, and they were in a kind of a survival group, people who survived their trials. And so they wanted to write the foreword to her book. And during the webinar, I'll read the foreword for Shaka and for her. And she might even, hopefully, might visit us. We don't know. Hopefully, she would come on.
Yeah, I'm on. Let me show left this realm or stop breathing or whatever term they call it. Do you have any memory, out of body experiences, recollections, anything from that moment?
My memory is so clean and clear as to what I was going through. And because my husband acted so quickly, he shook me back because I went blank. And even that, what I was thinking right before everything just went black. And even that, those thoughts are in the book, in the diary of the book, in the beginning of it, because that's exactly, I remember it very clearly. I felt I was struggling. I couldn't understand what was going on. I went through some mental confusion. Now, this is right before. And then all of a sudden it was peace. And everything was just black and everything stopped. And I wasn't aware of what was going on his side. We're going to read that Tuesday night, because I'm going to read the whole first chapter, which is very brief. It's not a long book and it's not a long chapter, very brief, so that everybody will get the feeling of what exactly was going on.
Well, the metaphysics of what I was thinking about, what she was going through, where I was and where she was at the time. I checked for her breathing and, checked for her chest. Everything stopped. And I was thinking that the void that she explains that she went through, that was the door that she would have accepted if she had turned away from me. That's why I kept saying to her, I kept smacking her face.
Don't give it away.
I said, don't you go nowhere. Come here.
Give it all away.
Yeah, she was getting ready to leave. And if she said that like you see, look in the background, you see that there's this light you have going on there. There's a blackness first, because I could remember, I could attest to it, because like I told you, back in Trinidad, I drowned and came back myself. And what happened is this blackness that happens, and then all of a sudden, there's this place that you're ending up with that, hey, I don't, this is fine. This is very cool. I don't feel anything because your body is not with you at that time. Your consciousness steps out of the condition that you're feeling physically. And then when I started smacking her and giving her nerves a point of reference for her senses to come back to, that's when she started coming back around, and she took a deep breath at that time.
Did you give her CPR?
He's giving it all away.
No, I didn't give it everything away. I just then the CPR. I'll tell you when the time comes.
Tuesday night and find out what he did.
Wow,
I'm just giving
y'all
you the
got me.
conditions. Yeah, just the conditions. It was serious. It was harrowing, but there's a thing that my mother and I used to go through because my mother had a very bad condition with her heart. She had these anxiety attacks and had a heart condition. And she used to take me around with her sometimes when she would go to her work and places, because every time she would go through a condition, everything in me began to go cold. I lose all feelings. I lose any connections to anything. My emotions completely leave my body and I become mechanical.
Mhm.
I just switch into another head altogether. And I say, whatever that reality is that's going on out there, I'm going to change it because I'm not going to have that dealing. You're not taking my wife. I told the ancestors at that time, you're not taking my wife. And
And
so at this point, I just got cold and started smacking her and knowing that she would come back because, we were very close anyway. And I knew she would listen to me if she heard me.
it's interesting
Mhm.
because we're very similar in that way. I was, oh,
Ah,
was, I was, I was in Manhattan at school, actually. I was at the Swedish Institute for Massage Therapy during 9/11. And
Mm-hmm.
people were panicking in the hallways. And for some reason, I'm very much like my husband in that way. When something gets really threatening, that's when I become very clear
mhm.
and very quiet,
Excellent. Excellent.
very clear. And it's like, this is what I do. I'm going to, right? So I don't even recall hearing his voice until I came back. So in the book, in the beginning of the book, I go through what I was thinking, like I said, and then his version and my version. And so we'll get the connection as to what I was thinking and what he was thinking. But I'll tell you, I'm so grateful that we have found each other for so many reasons. We didn't meet when we were young. And however, everything has its right time for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We were meant to have the children that we have with the mates that we had, with the partners, husband and his wife, who's a friend of mine. She's a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
We have missions. We both had missions to accomplish, and then because we have such things that we are so similar in what we did. We were both entertainers. We both did music. We were both you did acting on stages, and we were both into metaphysics, into natural healing. Everything essentially was like I met up, and that's why every time somebody has a birthday, we sing to them in harmony, and they wonder, "Oh, how y'all sound good together?" Like you say, yeah, it's because we were both singers at one point. So it was. It seems like this was a kind of a path that we began helping me, and I began to find my peace when she came into my life. I was able to do things that allowed me to rest from worrying about too many things going on around me, if you understand what I mean. And what she did was afford me the ability to get back into writing my book, for example. I have a book that I was writing and I couldn't get back into writing the book. Everybody's asking me, when's your next book coming out? I couldn't write it. I didn't have the peace of mind necessary for that to happen. And so we began to work together in order to rebuild what it is we had in probably another life.
With the human body, and we know the male human body is different from the female human body, regardless of what they try to tell us. Is the man or woman able to handle stress or trauma more than the other? Like, is women able to handle it more, or men able to handle it more, or does it affect both of us? Like, it hits us both the same.
Well,
It depends on the type of
mhm.
if I may. It really does. I mean, physically, we know a man is much stronger than a woman. And yet they always talk about the fact that women can have babies. Well, we were created to do that. And
Mhm.
that's why we were able to handle that kind of stress. And so I know my husband's going to talk about a lot of kinds of stresses that we are not created to handle. And that's why women are having the wounded womb. Come on.
Right.
It's all there. And I'll tell you, when he showed me the manuscript of that book way back in the 1990s, I said to him, I immediately saw that this book is going to be one of the most important books ever written. And so he'll share what he knows about stress and the difference between male and female.
Yeah.
Kinds of stress. I'll just say this. When a baby is involved, when a family is involved, you can see a woman come up with some strength that she didn't know she had.
That's true.
Okay.
Right.
However, to live day and day in and day out and day in with the kind of stresses women are going through today, no wonder we're dying too early.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to do that, because I found that the stress that women were going through at the time, I began writing the book. The book was actually built up in sections over a period of time from 1998 going forward. And it began building on it, and I began to see that there was a certain type of stress that feminism forced women to have to address. And because of the way that they adopted the masculine format for life, that stress began to take more of the energy they use to keep the peace. You can't have a healthy baby with a stressed mother. The mother can't be stressed and give birth to a healthy child. And so that became the foundation for why a fibroid tumor was actually forming in the women at the time. And that was at the time when Queen Afua and I were working together. And what happened was that I said that the metaphysics of a fibroid tumor was the fact that a woman had gone through a stress that was targeted through her feminine ego. The feminine ego is what essentially is targeted. When that is attacked, the woman's emotions are registered as a sonic beam, as a sonic sound in the womb. And there is a wound, WOUND, that takes place in that area. And now the body says, oh, there's damage there. It's on the psychospiritual level. So let me rush defensive materials to the area where she is feeling that pain. And so what happens is build up there, that then becomes encapsulated. That bruise now is being defended by a whole lot of fibrin. Fibrin is the material that when you cut your finger, that's what is rushed to the area to close the area off to heal. But over here, when you see this fibrin collecting around the womb to create a fibroid tumor, most people say, oh, don't worry about it. It's small. Let's let it grow. We'll see what happens. No. And in my book, I tell people how the fibroid tumor grows, how it comes about, and what they're putting themselves through, and the type of emotional stress, the pain, the anguish of having to do things in a man's world that keeps them away.
Now, you know, it's interesting that he brings up the fibroid tumor, because when I first went to him and we were sitting across from each other, he was looking beside me like this. And he says, now I'm looking at you, and what I see, and I'm thinking to myself, he's not looking at me. You know, he was looking at my aura on the side. But he said, and about that tumor that you have in your womb. And I said, excuse me, no, it's in my breast. And he said, you have one there too. And sure enough, I went to the doctor and he said that I had a tumor there in the womb. However, the program that he put me on took care of both of them. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
I still think about that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you have one there too. I didn't know.
How
There was, when you have a site, I could look at somebody and listen to their voice over the phone and tell them what their particular disease is. I can see there's an auric field someone has, and there was an auric field off to the side that not only for the breast, but as I looked down up and down the side, there was a dimming at that area too. So I saw it, and there's a way back when I was in my element and I was doing my, my fasting and my purification and doing my Agnihotra, my senses, my spiritual senses were very high. And so when I was looking at her, I went into a trance state and I could see colors around her. And that color was blank there. There's like a deficit, like an ulcer. There's an ulcer in the aura. And you could tell. And because there's a deficit of energy flowing through that area. And so I said that, you have a fibroid as well. And she was taken aback for a moment. And I said, well, yeah. I said, go ahead, check it out. And so I put her on a program, and then I think it was like 45 days later, she went back to the doctor, and there was no more tumors in the breast or in the womb.
Do you, Dr. Nalani, do you notice a difference, not just physically, but spiritually, from how you feel now versus 5 years ago when you had that and maybe you didn't know? Is there like a spiritual difference?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, after being in that situation and coming back, we always talk about how it feels. I always say to my husband, I say it all the time, it feels good to feel good. When I was going through it, I didn't realize I didn't allow it to register. I didn't allow the seriousness and the fear and the pain. I refused to allow it to register. So looking back, wow, that was some scary stuff going on. However, experiencing life now as opposed to how it was 5 years ago and even 3 years ago, I am living, I cannot express how joyful my life is right now. How good it feels to be alive. Let's be real. I don't know if I'm going to be here 10 years from now. I believe I will, and I feel like I will. However, they say, it takes 5 years for you to know if a cancer is completely gone. Well, I have 0 cancer cells in my blood at the time that the last time I was checked. Now, I'm sure there are some there now because we all have cancer cells, and we have something called NK cells, natural killer cells, that actually seek out and help. They're part of the macrophages that actually kill the cancer cells. And by the way, massage therapy increases your NK cells. I don't know if you know that, so that you're able to help to get rid of the cancer. So yes, I may have those cells. However, my body is in a place now that it can handle it because I have a brand new immune system. I like to use the word immune because I don't think we're immune to anything. A brand new defense system. So yeah, I feel amazing. Absolutely amazing. Especially one of the things. And by the way, Dr. Valentine designed this flyer. He gave the publisher. He and the publisher's designer worked together on the actual book cover. It was his concept, though. It was my concept. I always wanted it to be a phoenix, for all that a phoenix does and means. What I was thinking was just a phoenix, And so they gave me the phoenix, and then my husband said, "Nah, you got to be in that phoenix." He was the one that did that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Once again, family is going down May 28th. This is a free webinar, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I see. Shout out to King Simon in chat sharing. King Simon is actually sharing the actual link that you could click on to get more information and to register. The link is also in the description. So you can click on the link in the chat via King Simon, or you could go to the description of this video and click on the link. But I got just about 2 more questions. I don't want to keep you long. I want everybody to come to this webinar May 28th at 8 p.m. I mean, wow, this story is just I'm like glued to the screen right now, just listening to the story right now. How has this changed your perception? Because a lot of us, the way we live life, we may not express gratitude most of the time. Has this changed? And we don't realize the importance of expressing gratitude. Has this changed your perception of gratitude?
In a big way. And it's interesting. I always, and this is also in the book, I teach because I've been with some really, the company that I work with has some really dynamite people. And somebody there suggested, they gave us a rock. My rock is over there, a couple of years ago. And they said, just put one word on this rock that you want your life to be or to mean for the rest of the year. So we do this in January, and instead of writing, what do you call it when people write
New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolutions, just take one word. And some people even have a difficult time with that because they want to make it a sentence or a couple of words. No, one word. So my one word in year 2022, now this was in March of 22 when I got the diagnosis. And in January, my one word for the year was ease. And I had no idea what I would be facing. And I have to say, I went through that entire experience with ease. And so last year, my word was joyful. And this year in January, my word is thankful. And whatever word you choose, I promise you, you will experience a lot of it's just going to keep coming, keep flowing at you, no matter what the word is, and in many different ways. And it'll take you back to the fact that, oh, I said that was how it's going to be. And yeah, much more gratitude, and not in a superficial way. Gratitude down in the bone marrow, literally in the marrow. And that's why I'm so joyful. I can't be still anyway. I love music. And whenever I hear music, I'm dancing. And there was a time that I couldn't dance. I couldn't walk. I could hardly stand. It would take me a full 30 seconds just to stand up from the chair. And so now I do these exercises. I sit down and stand up and sit down and stand up. And 3 weeks ago, I could do 6 before my muscles, because my muscles were like spaghetti. After going through that and coming back, my mind and my muscles were not completely the way it used to be. And so now that it has come back, so now I do 20 in the morning. Just after 3 weeks of stand up and sit down, stand up and sit down. So I'll be dancing soon.
Excellent. Wow. What a show. Family, once again, it's going down May 28th. I want all y'all to definitely be there. Shout out to King Simon once again. He has the link to the webinar in the chat. Also, family, make sure, what's the email to donate, Dr. Valentine?
The PayPal, our PayPal, just for a love offering, because it did hit us very badly financially for a while. The love offering could be done to kemetearth@gmail.com. That's kemetearth, KEMET, Earth, EARTH @gmail.com. That's our PayPal. And if you do want to send that love offering, we would appreciate it. Please send it to friends and family so that they don't tax us and tax you for that. And just to let you know how, just the story itself, and you can't really envision it unless you were there. in the urgency of the moment. We can only tell you what happened after the fact. But in the urgency of the moment, I don't know whether or not anybody has ever been in an emergency situation. But you have to know how to think and act without emotions. You have to be on it, and you have to be very clear about what your next move is going to be. And while I was going through everything, you have to have a mind that's clear and pointed and focused. And that's what I want to also convey to brothers and sisters out there who are in emergency situations. I've seen on the videos and on YouTube that when emergency situations happen, people start to getting crazy and not, they start to, and that's not good. You have to learn how to put everything aside. If you if you've ever been close to death or ever had a run-in with death and survived, you know that there is a way for you to act. It's not a strange thing anymore. It's not a threatening thing anymore. And our ages, we've lived full lives.
Mhm.
So, you know that we have more years behind us than we do in front. I don't
Mhm.
know if that's true or not, but whatever it is that we assess our time frames are, we know what life is about. We understand what it's about, but we are preparing for the transition. In our minds, we're living the fullest and the most, joyful, as my wife says, time. We laugh boisterously. We find things that's funny. We love to laugh at comedy, at things that's going on, at the ironic.
We don't laugh, we holler.
We holler, yeah.
Woo!
And if you're not hollering with your mate, if you're not hollering and laughing with your mate,
Woo!
then there's something going on with you. That's why we could find funny things in the same thing, and we wake up and it's just beautiful how our lives are coming together, and the fact that she came from where she did, and I in my childhood came from where we did. That's that's all that needs to be said. I would put a caveat. There's things going on right now in this society and in the world that people have been calling me incessantly about what's going on. Dr. V, what can I do, and so forth. You know what it's doing, Brother Rich? It's forcing me to have to do another webinar.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm going to call you and talk with you about that a little later on. But right now, my main thing, I keep telling people I can't help you right now. My
Mhm.
wife has a project, and I am focused totally on that project. I want people to read her life story and what she went through to actually be the person that she is right now after the fact.
Mhm.
Resurrection in physical and in spiritual, that's a deep, deep experience. And so, maybe your people, it's not as exciting a subject to broach, but I think that coming back to life from death,
Mhm.
and I know that she had passed on and was standing at the door, coming back from something like that and going through what she went through at her age,
Mhm.
because the doctor said she had the organs of a 20-year-old,
Whew. Man.
a 20-year-old, and we're in our mid 70s. So that's testament that her living and her lifestyle and what she does, how she eats, how she exercises, what we take in the juice pluses and the whole 9 yards, that's no joke.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
not playing around when we speak to people and tell them about the way that they have to incorporate things into their lives for them to live a rich an uneventful life. If you understand what I mean, because we went through an event, we like uneventful life living.
Mhm.
So just that alone, I tell that to the people out there. If you've trusted me for the last 40 years and my wife for the last 25 years and what we've done, please trust me. This is a story you would want to read. And like I said, the foreword by Shaka Khan is absolutely beautiful. And I hope that you all are there on the 28th at 8 p.m. To enjoy it with us.
I just want to add that my purpose also is for those of you who have elders, for those of you who are elders, and those of you who have elders as parents or even grandparents, that they don't have to succumb to what most people think of as aging diseases or diseases. You really don't have to. You can skip that part. You can decide, you know what, I'm not going to take that class, you know, and just not do it.
Yeah, it's a frame of mind, and it's what she accepted, and that's the beautiful part. Most people didn't hear that. She did not accept what that particular thing's supposed to have done to her, and it didn't. Mind over matter. And she exercised the most powerful mind over matter. And I was the one who told her, you sure you want to do it that way? You want to go radical? You want to go for the 7 days only? Because that's going to take you down. Well, when you know she had the longest hair, she used to sit on her hair. And you know I had long hair. But now she's back. She's getting her hair braided back. She's going back. I went, we look like two M&Ms.
Yeah, he came into the hospital. My hair was falling out, and he came with his scissors to help and to finish it off for me. And when he came in the hospital, his head was bald. He had shaved his hair.
Yeah, all over.
That's me because my hair was I was getting bald.
Yeah. So
man,
we went through it together.
What a story. I gotta hear the rest of this on May 28th. Family, once again, click on the link. King Simon is sharing the link in the chat. Beautiful story. I mean, bless both of you, Dr. Nalani. What an inspiration. Your energy is just
one other thing. I just want everyone to know that the first 100 people to log in are going to be put into an opportunity, a chance to win something, to win a biopsychic analysis by Dr. Valentine, which is worth a whole lot more. But we usually charge like $525 for it, but that'll be for free for the person who wins that. And the first 50 people will get 2 chances put in. And the first 25 people will get 3 chances put in. So so we're going to choose just one, and we won't choose it. It'll be by automation. AI is going to choose it for us. We'll just put the numbers in with the name, and whatever number you are.
The coup. Most people don't know that the United States, as we know it as a country, as a nation, was infiltrated through that coup. The person that they call Bush, George Bush Sr., was actually George Scherf. He was a Nazi from the Hitler Youth. And he was brought over here along with at least 200 or 300 members of the Nazi Party, which were what you call socialist Democrats. That's who the Nazis were, socialist Democrats.
Interesting.
And when Hitler, who actually was brought over here by a female pilot and landed in Italy and was brought into the Vatican. I'm just kind of giving you a backstory of what's really going on.
Indeed.
You have to remember that with the incursion or the infiltration and the overtake of the United States Republic based on the destruction of the so-called Constitution, what we represented and the fact that we trusted our leaders is what those who actually have infiltrated trusted, that we trusted the leaders. And we would defer to them because they always had our best interest, or at least most of the country's best interest at heart. What happened was when they infiltrated after Kennedy's assassination, George Scherf, who became George Bush, based upon Prescott Bush, his so-called adopted father, who he took on his name. Prescott Bush essentially worked through the Vatican And he, along with the Jesuits, began setting up the infrastructure through the taking over of the what we call the intelligence community. And by taking over the intelligence community, they began to seed the necessary people that would then begin to erode the constitutional republic from within. They actually used feminism as one of the stealth weapons that began to erode at the cohesiveness of family, community, nation, the whole 9 yards that we had that had built up. And once feminism began to become, you are different from your man, man is different from you, that began to give them the ability to introduce the so-called gender dysphoria. And not only that, you have to remember the food that they were beginning to eat, to give us, it's not the same food they give to Europeans. Europeans eat different kind of food than we do. Everybody's eating different foods from us. We are getting poisoned, as well as you see what's happening through the open gate that they call them, the open borders. What they're doing is slowly but surely, through stealth, introducing a whole new way to think. Now, with that in mind, understand that they do have young people that they've already introduced to that through trauma. They have children who are taught in schools, as well as children who are on the internet 24/7. There's no shutdown of any of the media, any of the corporation, any of the digital or media corporations, so that the children would have some form of respite from the constant barrage of indoctrination that goes on through the multimedia. Children today are being fed. Children today, young people as well as old, are being fed certain kinds of foods. They're being introduced to or being involved in technologies that are eroding at their ability to have critical thinking. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Do you know that the filter of your computer at this particular time is essentially broadcasting a blue tint or a blue